Prophet Jonah, the fish adventure. Jonah's big job. A long, long time ago, in a sunny land with dusty roads and olive trees, there lived a kind man named Jonah. He had bright eyes and a gentle smile that made everyone feel happy. Jonah loved God and prayed every day under the twinkling stars. One day, God spoke to him, "Jonah, go to the big city of Nineveh. The people there are being naughty, praying to statues instead of me. Tell them to be good and follow my rules." Jonah nodded, "Okay, God, I'll go." But deep inside, he was nervous. Nineveh was huge, with tall walls and noisy markets, and the people didn't like listening to prophets. Jonah packed a small bag and walked to Nineveh. When he got there, he saw people laughing, dancing around shiny idols, and ignoring God. Jonah stood in the busy square and shouted, "Listen, everyone. God says to stop being selfish and pray to him, or Nineveh will be in trouble." Some kids giggled, but the grown-ups grumbled, "Go away, Jonah. We're fine." Jonah tried again and again, but the people just covered their ears. He felt sad and tired. "They won't listen, God," he sighed. "This is too hard." Satan, the sneaky whisperer, said, "Jonah, just give up and leave." Jonah started to think maybe Satan was right. Jonah runs away. Instead of staying, Jonah decided to run far away. He walked to a port by the sparkly sea, where ships bobbed like toys. He found a boat going to a place called Tarshish, far from Nineveh. "I'll hide there," Jonah thought, "and rest for a bit." He paid the sailors with his coins, climbed aboard, and hid below deck, curling up among sacks of grain. The boat sailed off, waves splashing gently, and Jonah fell asleep, thinking, "Maybe God won't find me here." But God sees everything. He sent a big, wild storm to wake Jonah up. The sky turned dark as night, thunder boomed like drums, and waves tossed the boat like a leaf. The sailors shouted, "Help! We're sinking." They prayed to their statues, but nothing worked. The captain found Jonah sleeping and shook him. "Wake up, stranger. Pray to your God to save us." Jonah rubbed his eyes and said, "Oh no, this storm is my fault. I ran from God's job. Throw me into the sea, and the storm will stop." The sailors didn't want to, but the waves grew scarier. They prayed, "God, please forgive us," and gently tossed Jonah into the water. The big fish. Splash! Jonah sank into the cold, bubbly sea. He thought, "I'm sorry, God, for running away." Suddenly, a huge fish, as big as a house with shiny scales, opened its mouth and, gulp, swallowed Jonah whole. Inside, it was dark and squishy, like a wet cave, but Jonah was safe. He sat in the fish's tummy, surprised he could breathe. "God, I was wrong," he prayed. "I should have obeyed you. Please forgive me and give me another chance." Jonah prayed for 3 days, his voice echoing in the fish's belly. God heard his sorry heart and told the fish, "Spit Jonah out." On the 3rd day, the fish swam to a sandy beach and, bletch, spit Jonah onto the shore. Jonah tumbled out, covered in seaweed but happy to see the sun. He knelt on the sand, saying, "Thank you, God, for saving me." The beach sparkled with shells, and the waves danced gently. God spoke again, "Jonah, go back to Nineveh. Tell them my message." Jonah nodded, "This time, I'll listen." He brushed off the seaweed, stood up, and marched toward Nineveh, ready to try again. Jonah's second chance. Jonah walked back to Nineveh, his sandals kicking up dust. The city was as busy as ever, with camels carrying baskets and kids playing in the streets. Jonah climbed a hill and shouted louder than before, "People of Nineveh! God says you have 40 days to stop being naughty, or your city will be in big trouble. Pray to God and be kind." This time, the people stopped and listened. The kids whispered, "He sounds serious." The grown-ups looked worried and said, "Maybe Jonah's right." The king of Nineveh heard Jonah's words and jumped off his golden throne. "We've been bad," he said. "Let's say sorry to God." He took off his fancy robe, put on a plain sackcloth, and sat in ashes to show he was sorry. He told everyone, "No eating or drinking for a while. Pray to God and be good to each other." Even the animals wore sackcloth, and the cows mooed sadly. The whole city prayed, "God, we're sorry. Please forgive us." God saw their kind hearts and forgave them, keeping Nineveh safe. Jonah learns a lesson. Jonah was happy but also a bit grumpy. He sat outside the city under a shady plant God grew for him. "God, why didn't you punish Nineveh?" he asked. "I worked so hard." The next day, God sent a worm to eat the plant, and it wilted. The sun got hot, and Jonah felt sweaty and mad. God said, "Jonah, you're sad about a plant, but you don't care about Nineveh's people and animals. I love them and want them to be good." Jonah blushed. "You're right, God. I was selfish. I'm glad you saved them." Jonah went back to his village, telling everyone about his fish adventure. The kids loved his story, giggling, "You were in a fish's tummy." Jonah laughed, "Yes, and I learned to obey God and say sorry when I'm wrong." He taught the Israelites to trust God's plan, even when it's hard. The people sang songs, thanking God for his kindness. Jonah's story teaches kids to listen to God, say sorry when they mess up, and trust his love. Satan tried to make Jonah run away, but God's forgiveness brought him back. So, kids, when you make a mistake, pray like Jonah and try again. God's always ready to give you a second chance.